Hello everybody, welcome to Faithful Friday. I'm going to grab some ice cream and then we're going to chit chat, okay? So what I got was a lemon custard ice cream from Wentworth. Now I know I went to ice cream place last week, but you know what, that's alright. It's summer, the weather's warm, and you know, sometimes you just need some ice cream. So, gonna let y'all get a quick look at that. It's very creamy. I'm gonna taste some. Now they make their own ice creams here, but what I actually want to talk about was yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend, and they were talking about how unhappy they were in the field that they're working in, and how their boss just spouts negativity and all this hate at them. And the friend knows that they shouldn't be at that job, that they should be doing something else, but they're hanging around right now, you know, because they got bills and stuff like that. But what I tried to do was warn the friend about staying at a place too long, because when you're at a place too long and it's not what you're supposed to be doing and you're working in somebody else's purpose and not in your own purpose, there's a disconnect energy wise. There's a disconnect that happens, and then your spirit starts to go down. Then you start to emulate what they're dishing out, and you take that all home with you, and then you're stressed about it, you're crying about it, you're tossing and turning, you're not getting any sleep, you're not eating well, or you know, whether you're not eating at all or you're eating badly because of what this person has put into you with their spirit, because you got to be careful what you take on. Now, one of the things that I used to do was, when I had a stressful day at the job, or any situation at the job, especially when it's just a job, make sure you leave whatever is in that building and don't take it home with you. You can't take that home with you, especially when it doesn't pertain to what you should be doing in your purpose, because when you get home, that's you time. That's the time that you should be focused on you. You should be focused on your purpose. You should be focused on your dreams. You should be focused on a plan to make that happen and what's the next step, as opposed to focusing on all that other stuff, because you may work with 2 people, 10 people, 100 people, and you're hearing all this chatter and all this chatter and all this chatter, and you're bringing all that home with you, and you're bringing all their stresses at home with you. Sometimes your work can be a stress relief, but when it's not a stress relief, you have to leave it there. It is so important that you leave it there. And then when you get home, make a plan, give some time to your dreams and your purpose and all that other stuff. And one of the things that this friend confided into me was, you know, they were afraid of, you know, what their siblings were going to say, what their parents were going to say, and what everybody was going to say. And I said, well, let me put it to you this way. In 10 or 15 years, while you're still working at that job and they're doing whatever they're doing, they're not going to be the ones in the doctor's chair talking about the problems, and then all that time has gone by and you haven't worked in your purpose, and you're standing and tolerating all that negative energy that's coming into you. So do you get what I'm saying there about being careful about, you know, always going to your friends and your family and all them for advice and stuff? You kind of know what you're supposed to do when you're in certain situations, because you have an instinct that you should kind of trust. Your instinct kind of tells you to get out of that situation, or to get away from these people, or to not take that in. So you have to trust your instincts. You got to trust yourself, and you got to trust what's being told to you, and quit doubting it, because the minute you doubt it once, then you constantly doubt, and you're still in this situation, and you've made no progress to move forward. You get what I'm saying here? Faithful Friday? Faithful Friday. Be faithful to yourself. Be faithful to your dreams. Be faithful to your purpose. Be faithful to you. Sometimes you don't have to bring in someone else to ask them their opinion. Just talk it out, think it out, and then ask yourself, tell yourself to trust yourself. And then that first thing that rings in your mind is usually the right thing to be able to move forward. Okay? I'm going to enjoy some more of this ice cream, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so now I'm leaving Wentworth. I was out in the back at their patio. They have like a gazebo, and they got swings and stuff back there. But while I was in Wentworth, I ran into one of my old teachers from grade school. Now, I haven't seen her in quite a few years. I'm not going to tell how many years, because then I'll tell how old I am. But she looked exactly the same, and she had such a good memory because she remembered that my aunt worked at the school too. So, you can still be sharp depending on how many years have gone by and stuff. But sometimes you can have like, one of those brain farts or senior moments or a cloudy head and you forget people. But I seen her, like her hairstyle and her glasses, and I'm like, that has to be. So I asked her, I said, did you teach in New Haven Public Schools, or were you a teacher? And she said, yes. And I said, you were my teacher. And then she said, what's your name? So I told her my name, and she was like, I remember you. And then she was like, how's your grandmother? Your grandmother told you? And I was like, no, my aunt, but her memory was good, and I was surprised on that. So it was good to see her. It's good to see somebody that you haven't seen in quite a long time, at least 10 years or so. I'm just estimating 10 years, but it's been longer than that. But but just remember just what I said about, being careful about trusting yourself and trusting your instincts, because your instincts don't lie to you when you're not supposed to be into a place. And when I was just talking about that disconnect is telling you, that energy is telling you to get out of there and go for what is yours. Go for your dreams. Go get your life. Go get your life. And I was talking to another friend about that, and that friend was like, where are you going? Let's hook up next week and such. And I was like, I'm going to New York. And that friend was like, I'm so proud of you that you're going, living your dreams, you're living your life. And I said, you know what? It's about time. Because for many years, I was living someone else's dream, and I was putting my energy into making someone else's dreams come happen. And I was putting myself on the shelf and putting myself as the second thought. Don't do that. Don't put yourself as the second thought. Don't put yourself on the shelf. You got to be first priority, because like I said, then when you haven't accomplished these things and you have these regrets and stuff, you'll be in someone's chair talking about this, or you'll be sit up in a room, can't move and stiff and all this other stuff, because some of it isn't always how we take care of our body. Some of it is how we take care of our minds, because when you don't take care of this, that affects everything else. Everything else starts to shut down if this isn't well taken care of. And if you're letting people come in that have negative energy and they have a bad spirit and they're upset with their lives, that rubs off on you. Very easily it rubs off on you. So you got to be careful what you allow to come in here and what you allow to hear, because it will eventually take its toll. So, but there's a cure for that. Work on your mindset. Work on what you take in. Work on what you say out of here. Work on what you hear here, and work on what you put in here, and what's programmed in here. You are at the keyboard, so you program it. And when that person's coming at you, they don't matter. You matter, and that's the thing that you have to say to yourself. I matter. This person don't matter. This situation is nothing to me. I know what I'm going for. I know what I was created for, and I know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Because even lately, I'm noticing that there's like a lot of YouTube beefs that are going on. And I spoke about this last week, about these beefs and about like not letting them matter and stuff. If there is something that you have to say, say it and then let it go, because because some people will keep some stuff going and going and going and going like that darn Energizer buddy. But you ain't got time for that. Your time is precious. And you got to manage your time for the things that you want to do while you're here on this earth. You know what I'm saying? Don't let somebody come in and disrupt your precious time. Work on you. Work on your dreams, your goals. And remember, you got to be happy first. And I know that we value our family's opinions. So, when our moms and dads and grandparents and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles have something to say towards that, value them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, your happiness matters, and your decision making is what it needs to come forth, because when you make you make the decision that they would have made for you, and then if it doesn't work out, you told me to do this and you told me to do that. See what happens there? See what happens there if you go by what they would have done as opposed to doing what you should do? You got to do what's right for you and not what's right necessarily for your parents or your grandparents or your brothers and sisters or your friends. You got to do what's right for you, because at the end of the day, you're in this vessel here. And if you're going to this place just because of money, and you're going to that place just because of money, or just because someone said so, at the end of the day, you got to live with that decision. You got to be comfortable with that decision. But know that there's a result because of the decision. So if you're taking their decision and you're applying that to you're applying that to life, what they would necessarily do, as opposed to you getting this sense of, I should be doing this and this is the direction I should go into, but then you don't trust yourself, and then you're going and asking them, and then you're going by what they say, but it doesn't work out, but I should have did this, but then that ship has sailed. That opportunity is gone. Okay? I apologize for not having a Monday video up. I've been going back and forth to New York. I've been having, I was on a conference call the other day, and matter of fact, this was a great conference call. It was only like 30 minutes, but there's a guy that's been in the film industry, and he's written scripts, and he's produced his own films, and he was giving me some advice in a route to go into, and then he read over my film, and then he said, you know what, so he was talking about, markets for certain films, like, say, like spirituality and religious and violence and all those, say, like, they have their markets, and then the sci-fi, and then the dramas and the comedies and all that, they have their markets. So I was, he read over my film, and then he saw, like, the package that it's coming packaged in, and he was like, there's a market for this, so if somebody do it, why not you do it? So when the script that me and my friend have written, and I've talked about it on this channel, so I got a lot of good input from him, and then he was like, I've been doing this a long time, you don't have to necessarily take my input. And I said, well, I need to listen so I can get some information, so I can know how to go forward and trust my instincts, because like I was just talking about, don't necessarily do what somebody else would do, but he was just saying, these are the routes that are open to you. So I said, okay, so this door is open, this door is open, this door is open, this door is, these are the routes that I can go. So I'm going to take that information that he gave me and process it, because I'm new to, the writing aspect and being behind the camera, and getting the crew together and doing this all myself. So I'm looking at him as a mentor. So he's mentoring. He's not telling me this is what you have to do and this is what you have to do and you have to put it over here and you have to put it over here. He's just saying, these are your options as far as being a writer, a producer, a filmmaker and such, and these are available to you, so take advantage of it. So I'm like, okay, at least I know, because that was information that I did not know. There's difference when there's information that you don't know, but when your mind is telling you to trust your instincts and you don't trust your instincts at all, and you constantly go to other people. But this is a door that I haven't been through, so as walking through this door and he's giving me this valuable information, I was so grateful to it, because in that half an hour I learned so much. And I'm like, wow, there's a market for this, and and it's a growing market. And he was like, yeah, and if you can do this, if anybody do this, why not you? So I was glad to get that information, and I'm gonna definitely hit him up and email him, and definitely pick his brain. But I'm definitely gonna do what's best for me and how I feel and how me and my partner feel this film should go forward and stuff. And we're gonna discuss it as a team, because I didn't write it alone. I didn't have the vision for this alone. His vision was also in this, so we're 50-50 on this. So, but trust your instincts, trust yourself, and go get your life. All right, I love you. Please give this video a thumbs up, share this video, share all the videos. If it can help somebody, I've done my job. Be blessed, and I will see you on Monday for Inspirational Monday.